Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Top of the Pods. And as you can see in the pod seat here today, we've got Wrenna with us,
Hello.
another local artist, and we will be having a chat and listening to some fantastic music from her shortly. But if you're watching on YouTube right now, please subscribe to the channel. That will help us. And if you're listening on the podcast in particular, if you could subscribe to that one, because that does help us fund the studio for the younger artists coming through. To be able to record their original material for free. And that's what this podcast is all about, is trying to help young musicians and older musicians alike just get their music out there for their audience. Okay, and without further ado, we are going to jump straight into this interview with Wrenna. So you are a local artist from
Caerphilly
in South Wales.
yeah.
Yes. I don't know too much about the castle in Caerphilly, but I believe it's one of, if not the biggest in the UK, something like that.
Yeah, I think depending on where you Google, it'll say different things, but yeah, I think it's one of the biggest.
Oh, okay. There we are. See, my limited knowledge of castle history there. So I won't go any further into that one. I don't want to embarrass myself too much. So the first thing I want to actually dive into is something from your Instagram page. And on there, on your bio, it says that you like to write about things that people don't like to talk about. Is that correct?
That is, yeah.
Yeah. So can you explain that a little bit more and how you got into that mindset and that thought process?
Yeah, so writing for me has always been quite therapeutic. And since I was 12, I was like songwriting. My parents went through a divorce, so it was kind of like my way of coping with stuff that happened in life.
Yeah.
And then the more that I listened to different songs, I realised that for some people, songwriting is just like a bit of fun, and music's a bit of fun to listen to and stuff. And then I kind of found my niche of being like writing about stuff that actually happens in people's lives.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you can write about something that people connect with, it means a lot to me and a lot to them.
So almost like a dual form of therapy for yourself and your potential listeners then, as such.
Yeah.
Because especially if a lot of people, and I know this from my own experience, don't like to talk about their feelings, and especially their deeper thoughts and feelings. So I suppose through the medium of music and artists such as yourself who write about those more difficult topics, people can relate to that and then hopefully release some of that built up whatever they have inside, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
So based on kind of loosely on that, can you describe kind of your musical journey so far, where you started, how you got into music, where you are right now?
Yeah, so I'm 24, and I started kind of messing around with music when I was quite young.
Mm-hmm.
So my nan used to play the organ at the church.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I started.
Yeah.
She bought me like little piano books, so she taught me how to play the basics. And then I started with guitar in year 5, I'm pretty sure it was, just lessons in school.
Yeah.
And then I actually went to the drums in comp, because I decided that I actually just wanted to hit stuff.
Yeah. Well, actually, I walked into the studio just now and Wrenna was actually on the drums here.
Couldn't help myself.
I was outside for a little while just listening, having a little dance to myself. So yeah, so I can confirm that Wrenna has some skills on the drums, definitely. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, it's all right. Yeah, it's been a little while, but whenever I see a kit, I'm like, I've just got to play something. And then, yeah, I went to uni to study business, so nothing to do with music. I kind of, from like year 11 to uni, I kind of fell out of it a little bit with like stress of exams and stuff.
Yeah. So did you drop music completely, or was there still some kind of therapy in music whilst you were doing all that, or did you just forget about music to concentrate purely on your education?
Yeah, I think I probably picked up the guitar now and then, but like there's nothing in my memory where it's like a core memory of like doing music at that point.
Yeah.
And I think like I was going out with my friends, I was learning to drive, and there was just like a whole new life that I was experiencing. So music kind of lost its way a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, but also though, you know, I'm guessing that was the teenage years.
Yeah.
So you know, we've all, some of us a little longer than others, but we've all been there. And you have to enjoy those years. You have to, because they only happen once. So you have to, you do have to enjoy them. So if you're out there and you're a teenager, enjoy. Be safe, but enjoy. So with your songs, we've well, the listeners haven't, or the viewers haven't heard any as yet, but obviously we recorded the 3 for today, here today in the studio. How do you approach your songwriting? Where is it kind of more of a personal thing, or do you get your kind of ideas from external sources? Tell us about that.
So each song is completely different because some are solo written, some are co-writes. So my recent release, Without Me, was a co-write. So we went into the studio and I think he just started playing a riff or something, and I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. And then I just sort of like this melody, and then I was like, oh, actually this sounds a bit sad. Like, what am I thinking at the minute? Like, how am I feeling that maybe could relate to this melody and stuff? So that's kind of how that one came along. But sometimes like I'll have a clear thing in mind of, oh, I'm feeling a bit sad because like this happened today, I want to write about it.
Yeah.
So the lyrics are kind of like first rather than the melody.
Okay.
So yeah, it really depends on my mood and like if I'm going to write, or whether I just feel inspired randomly and like 2 a.m. and I need to pick up the guitar and play something.
The life of a musician, I suppose. When it just when that moment hits you, you've got to either, nowadays it's phones. When I was a lot younger, it was a pencil and pad, and you just thought, oh, I'll write that down.
Yeah.
So it's largely based on I don't want to say emotions, but kind of how you're feeling in the moment.
Yeah.
Is it a lot of it?
Yeah, and it could be that like it's not necessarily my experience. Maybe my friends are going through something.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling it through them. So I like, one of my songs was inspired by a story that they've been through. Or maybe it's something you've watched on TV and I'm thinking, oh, like that would make a good song because like I don't personally relate to it, but I could see that a lot of people would. Yeah. So that's kind of where it comes from. So. And
then obviously your interpretation of what you've just witnessed would come through in the song then, I suppose, in your own style. Okay, so we've talked a lot about kind of your songs and your songwriting. So I think this is a good point to introduce your first song. So if you want to tell us about this first song that you're going to sing for us.
Yeah, so this first song is my newest release, Without Me. So I've just like mentioned it a little bit. But it was a co-write with someone called Ryan Gillian, very talented. And it was my first co-write, I'm pretty sure, that I ever went to in a session. So the first time I've ever written with someone.
How did you find that? How was the experience of that?
It was very strange, but I think because we have different skills, we complemented each other very well.
Yeah.
And Ryan's very good at like production and things and bring in different riffs and melody ideas. And then I've kind of like brought the lyrics and like the story that I wanted to bring. This one it's a bit of a sad one kind of thing. It's about feeling like you're not good enough in a relationship, and maybe that they're better off with someone else. And lots of the time this is because of like past trauma or past hurt.
Yeah. So
if you've been in a relationship that you didn't feel wanted or seen, going into a new relationship, that's going to affect the way that you are with that person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're not always able to bring those barriers back down and open ourselves up to the person that you want to.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think the good thing with the song, particularly for yourself, but also for people listening, it kind of helps you deal with that internal trauma, from whether it be new or childhood trauma. Trauma can manifest itself in many ways. So so we'll have a listen to this song. Here's Without Me, Wrenna. Here we go.
Baby, I'm not built for love. Maybe I'm not built for us. These old habits, when you push and pull away, God, I can't stop. Baby, I'm not one to stay. Maybe I'm wired this way. Trust was never kind to me. I can't undo that. Oh, and this cycle feelings spiral round and round and round and round. This game of lost and found. Mind's running in circles. See you changing from the inside out. I don't wanna be hurtful. I'm thinking you're better off promise anything? Would you just let me explain? It's hard to break these patterns, they're keeping me safe. I can't undo that. Oh, and this cycle feel a spiral around and round and round and round. This game of lost and found. Mind's running in circles. See you changing from the inside out. I don't wanna be hurtful. I'm thinking you're better off without me. Oh, without me. Mind's running in circles. See you changing from the inside out. I don't wanna be hurtful. I'm thinking you're better off without me. Oh, without me.
Okay, welcome back everybody, and that was Wrenna there, and a beautiful song, Without Me, I'm sure you will agree. And that one, is that released? Can people go and listen to that now, or is this an...
Yes.
People
that
can?
one's released.
And where can they listen to that particular song? Is on
Anything, Spotify, Apple Music, all of my songs, Spotify, Apple Music, if they're released, YouTube. Yeah.
They're out there for people to listen to.
Yeah.
And that is Wrenna, Wrenna, and Without Me. And there will be more coming up shortly. So we've spoken about your songwriting and kind of your approach to that and where it all started for you. So tell us who some of your biggest musical influences are, and have they shaped your style of music, or did you just kind of pick and choose from a variety of artists?
Yeah, it's a bit of a mixture. When people say like my influences, I always jump to like Birdie, Florence and the Machine, Lana Del Rey. That kind of like, I guess like indie alt pop, like female empowerment kind of like thing. But also I was an indie girl back when I was like 16, so like Catfish and the Bottlemen, The Hunter, Stereophonics. I grew up watching a lot of these bands, so I guess a lot of that has kind of influenced the way that I produce music as well, which is nice. So
yes. Does the style of music, does that, so in like not just the songs that you are playing here today, but others, do they reflect any of those artists and bands that you've mentioned? You know, the style of you, the way you play or the way you sing?
Yeah, I would say people always say my vocals remind them of Birdie because they're quite like floaty, like ethereal kind of thing. So I'm definitely influenced by her a lot. But I kind of just think like whatever comes to mind when I'm playing around, and then I think, oh, actually maybe that sounds like a Lana Del Rey song. Let me go listen to some of her stuff, see if I can pick up some little bits that would translate well with this song. So it's not one person, it's kind of like a few of my favorite idols, I guess.
I see, yeah. So, almost like a mosaic, I suppose, of your favourite artists coming out through your songs. And hopefully one day, in the near future, there will be someone sat here on a different interview saying, one of my favourite artists that I like to kind of, who inspires me is Wrenna. You know, that would be nice.
We're manifesting it.
We're manifesting it right here on top of the pods. So I'm going to move on to kind of musical instruments. Now, I know we've touched on that you started with guitar, I think you said, and then you went on to drums, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I believe on some of your videos on Instagram, I've seen you on the keyboard as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can choose, but what would you say? And I know the songs you've done today are all based on guitar. What's your favourite instrument to play and why?
Definitely the drums.
Okay.
I don't play them that often now because I'm upstage, so I find it hard to sing and play the drums at the same time and stuff. But when I'm playing the drums, it's like nothing else is there. Like
Yeah.
I can just, if I'm stressed, I just bash a cymbal and life is good. Like that's the vibe. I love the rest because they help me songwrite and they help me like feel my emotions more. But if I just want to like shut off from the world, I go to the drum kit because I can just like be myself and just be crazy and like doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Like I'm just on there, carefree.
And take out some frustrations of either the day, the week, or the month, or whatever. And I suppose the drum kit, and maybe you could correct me here, I suppose it's not synonymous with songwriting as such. I don't suppose they inspire, you know, if you're bashing away there on the drums, it doesn't inspire a love song, for example, you know. And so I suppose it is therapeutic in a very different way on the drums. So what would you say is the most challenging part of music for you, you know, in the creation process? What would you say is the most challenging part? Because I know for me personally, just to kind of hone this in a little bit, you said that you kind of sometimes or most of the time you work on the lyrics first and then the melody comes second. See, for me it's the opposite way.
Okay.
I will work on a melody and then the lyrics will come. So I can't imagine, for me personally, doing it the other way around. That would be a challenge for me. So what's the most challenging things creatively for you?
I would say at the minute is if I'm writing a song like on the guitar or on the keyboard, it's like trying to decide where that song then lives production wise. So that's why I find co-write sometimes easier because they can like add the things in there and then, and I can be like, oh, play this riff and it sounds really cool and it kind of comes together. But if it's just me and a guitar, I'm like, right, like, is this going to be a song like a ballad? Is this going to be like a proper pop anthem? Like, how is it going to sit within the other songs that I've created as well?
Yeah. And do you try to keep your songs within a specific category or you know, down the similar lane, for example, or do you just whatever comes to you, that's what you write, and you try and keep it relatively within your style of music? Or
I used to be quite structured with like I could only use these instruments, like it had to be like a live band feel, and then recently I've just been experimenting on like my DAW basically, where you can just put in loads of different sounds. And I've really been enjoying playing around with like different electronic sounds and stuff that you wouldn't get from like a guitar or something.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to branch out and be like, right, nothing's off limits.
Okay.
If I think it sounds good, then let's run with it and see where it takes me.
So are we to expect some kind of synth kind of pop track from you in the near future or anything like that?
Yeah, the ones I'm working on are like, they've got a few synths in there, a bit more like alt pop, I would say, rather than like a band feel.
Yeah. Any specific genre, you know, from 80s or 90s, early 90s, that type of feel, or was it kind of inspired from that, but a new take on it?
Yeah, the keyboard sound I actually use is like, I think it's 80s synth or something, so I guess like that's where it's kind of come from.
Yeah.
But I've seen like one of my favourite artists called Griff at the minute. She uses a lot of synths in her sound and it sounds very modern, and she's kind of like my inspiration for the past few songs that I've been writing.
Okay, I've not heard of Griff actually, so
Check her out.
Yeah, I'll have to check Griff out. Shout out to Griff. We will check you out if you're watching. I'm sure she is. So.
Yeah.
He, she. She. Yes, that's right. Okay. So I think what we'll do now is we'll move on to your next song. So if you'd like to introduce that for us and tell us a little bit of that song, we'll go into that one.
Yeah, so this next one is called These Nights. And this is probably the saddest one to date, but it lives in the thing I sing very sad songs. And it's about grieving after a loved one has passed away. But the way I've wrote it is kind of like the journey of grief, where like when it first happens, you're just like beside yourself, like you nothing can control these feelings that you're having.
Yeah.
And then as time kind of passes, you start to realize that like life is going to get better, and like
absolutely.
And at least I always think that like even if they're not here with me physically, they're here with me somewhere, so they're watching on somewhere. So that's
Yes.
kind of like the positive message that I try to bring towards the end of the song.
Nice. Okay. So it's almost like a very short journey then of
Yeah.
that journey of grief, because it takes many roads, grief, and people deal with it very differently. And is this song based on a personal experience of someone you've lost, or is it just kind of in general somebody losing somebody?
Yeah, I was inspired by my granddad when he passed away.
Oh, okay.
When I was maybe like 15, 16, something like
Okay.
that. But whenever I think about it, now that it's been a bit of time, I can heal on it a lot better. But the bridge talks about I know that you meet me when I want to feel your touch again. And it just reminds me, because we always say that he's like a robin. So whenever we see a robin around, I'm like, that's my grampy.
And he's there with you.
Yeah.
So did he, just one quick question before we move into the song. Did he get to hear you sing and play? Because
Yes,
yeah.
not in the way that I am now.
No, of course.
But yeah, because I'd play a lot with my nan and stuff. I'd always be playing on the piano and he'd be sitting there on the sofa. So he knew that I could sing,
Yeah.
and he loved me singing in front of him. So I think he'd be proud.
I'm sure he would definitely be very proud of you. And on that note, we will go into this song. Here's Wrenna. Here we go.
I used to be a glass half full, now I'm running on empty, no energy. Tried to get out of the house, that's what my therapist told me that I should see familiar faces, not good when you're healing. How do I talk to them about how I'm feeling? I'm stuck in the rut and I don't know how to get out. These nights fall into days, they turn into months without hearing your name. Oh, these nights, I'm so afraid you're slipping away. Memories preserve my brain. Oh, these nights. Oh, these nights. I used to see the stars so clear, now my mind is polluted. All senses are muted, illusion helps me hear a voice when I'm drowning in white noise, guiding me through this void. Facing my demons is the start of this healing. I need to talk about this way that I'm feeling. I'm stuck in the rut and I know I need to get out, out. These nights fall into days, they turn into months without hearing your name. Oh, these nights, I'm so afraid you're slipping away. Memories preserve my brain. Oh, these nights. Oh, these nights. I know that you meet me when I wanna feel your touch again. Ooh. I know that you meet me then, but right now I'm in need of a friend, oh. I know that you meet me when I wanna feel your touch again. Oh. I know that you meet me then, but right now I'm in need of a friend. Through these nights fall into days, they turn into months without hearing your name. Oh, these nights, I'm so afraid you're slipping away. Memories preserve my brain. Oh, these nights, these nights, oh, these nights, these nights. Oh, these nights. Oh.
There we are. That was Wrenna right there, and These Nights. Welcome back, and another beautiful song. And I'm sure you'll agree with me. The melodic tone and the almost the harmony in your voice is just stunning. And I was lost in myself actually whilst we were recording them, and I forgot a few things that I was doing over there whilst I was listening. It was beautiful. So, obviously, you're 24 years of age. And you've grown up in kind of this social media society. So, how do you feel about the evolution of the music industry with such things as streaming platforms and social media? Has that helped you, or is that a hindrance, or have you not really got the comparison to the old style? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I always find it tricky because obviously I've grown up with social media, but I didn't have Facebook until I was 16 or something. So I was always someone who was outside in the yard with my friends. I was never really online. So I found it quite difficult now because the industry is if you don't have the Instagram followers, you're not getting certain gigs or whatever.
Yeah.
I have found that quite difficult just because it's not that natural for me to put myself online.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to consciously push and post and think about what can I show people, because obviously that's the way it's moving.
Yeah.
So I feel like I probably would have enjoyed the old school style of things, maybe. So it's less posting my stuff all the time and focusing more on the music. But I'm also quite grateful because it gives you the power to do what you want. So I love being an independent artist because it's my vision, it's my decisions. I don't have to answer to anybody else. I can just do whatever I want, post whatever I want. And obviously if back in the day you'd have to be signed to a label to have that kind of power.
Absolutely. And I suppose before the days of social media and YouTube and various other platforms, the only route for most artists was to try and get signed by a label. And on that note, is that kind of an inspiration of yours, or would you rather stay completely independent, or does it depend what offer is thrown at you, for example?
Yeah, I think at least for the next few years, my goal is to just grow my own business, I guess, and be independent.
Which then brings into play your uni education, your business, so it's complementing that as well.
Yeah, so I did business entrepreneurship as my degree. So obviously it's helped with this thing because I've got the business kind of mind to be okay, I'm going to do it all myself. I'm still looking for help, so manager and stuff. I think that will really help grow where I need to be. But in terms of the label side of things, I think for now I'm happy working on my own music until I'm 100% where I am, and then maybe I can approach different places. But
and it's and kind of back to the social media type of thing, that is, it's pretty constant, isn't it? You have to constantly be thinking of content and footage, and so do you plan ahead for that, or do you just kind of do that ad hoc? What's your process for the social media content?
I need to be better. That's definitely what I'll say. But I'm trying to be now I'm trying to be right, I'm going here. This is what I'm going to try and get. So I'll get try and get 3 different videos or B-roll or whatever. Background stuff just so I can be online more. It is a natural, but I'm trying to build these habits in. So maybe once a week is a content week, whether that's editing or filming or whatever, just to keep up with the online presence.
And it's not the same, is it, as just getting on stage and playing, because that's where you probably feel most comfortable on stage with an instrument in your hand or sat behind a keyboard, for example, and playing, whereas social media content, you're having to almost, I don't know, jump out of your comfort zone to provide something to keep people engaged and watching, and
I think especially nowadays it's harder because you're constantly thinking of what's going to hook people in, rather than just being I can sing, the audience are going to enjoy my performance. It's right, if I don't capture them in 3 seconds, they're going to scroll past and no one's going to see. I could sing the best song ever, but no one's going to watch it if it doesn't capture them. So it's not just making the video, it's you've got to be the copywriter, you've got to be the editor, and you've got to be smart with the way that you're designing stuff.
Absolutely.
So it definitely takes a lot of
Yeah, because
thinking.
it's not just a case of standing in front of your phone and just saying a few things or even singing something. You got all these external things that you're thinking about to bring it back into this 20-30 second clip.
Yeah,
It blows my mind, and I'm double your age. So social media, it especially for somebody, I mean, I say you grew up in this generation, but it sounds like it's not quite as straightforward and easy for you as it, and less for me as well, So are there any musical genres or sounds that you would like to explore in the future? I know you've touched on you're looking at these kind of 80s synth sounds. Is there any other, because you also mentioned that you're largely full of sad songs, I'm sure. But I'm sure that's not just the case. I'm sure there are other kind of there's other kind of genres in there trying to break out of you. So any plans for that?
Genre wise, this is like very rogue, but liquid drum and bass I think would be sick.
Okay.
Working with like a DJ and then I just obviously top line with my lyrics or whatever. I've had a lot of people say that like they think I would work really well. I don't know if you know like Kenya Grace. She's a really good like influence of, I guess, where liquid drum and bass is going with like really important lyrics and stuff. So I would definitely be tempted to try a song.
And reaching into different audiences then, this drum and bass audience. I grew up on it wasn't drum and bass then, it was jungle, but it's the same concept essentially, so I am all for what you just mentioned, that liquid drum and bass. Not sure what liquid drum and bass is.
I guess liquid is just more tame, maybe. That's
is it?
Like,
okay.
I would say liquid is like drum and bass, obviously hardcore is probably like no lyrics, whatever, but liquid is like a bit more like lyrics and singing and just more words, I guess, than like typical like rave
then you
music.
you're hardcore in a, well, actually I used to go to one many years ago in Barry, actually, an illegal rave. They weren't those days have gone, but yes, it was purely, there may have been an MC on the mic, but not a lyricist or a vocalist, for example. So I like that kind of crossover. So hopefully we'll see you on some of those kind of songs in the near future.
100%.
Especially if anybody's watching here and you're a liquid drum and bass DJ and you want to join forces with Wrenna, please get in touch with us.
Wilkinson is my my top choice. So if you're listening,
Wilkinson. We've touched on various parts of your kind of musical influences and where your music has come from, where it's going. Where do you perform live, and how often do you perform live? Quite often.
Probably once a week.
Okay.
I would say maybe once every other week, depending on like the size of gig. But lots of acoustic sets. And I guess my goal for this year is to do more band stuff. And to just bring like the full vibe of like what Wrenna's about. But like lots around South Wales, so I'm always in Cardiff gigging. I've got quite a few in Caerphilly, so like Caerphilly Pride, the Little Cheese. And I also gig around Bristol. I guess that's like my stomping grounds of uni.
Okay,
But I'm trying to reach into London as well and kind of like do a few gigs here and there on my like trips when I go in. So
what's the furthest afield that you've been to perform, aside from Bristol? Probably
London.
Okay.
Trying to think geographical. Probably London is the furthest.
And why London in particular, to break that scene? I know it may sound like an obvious and simple question, but why London in particular?
I mean, I think London is great. I do think it's slightly overhyped, so I'm happy to be in the music scene in Wales and then just hop into London and like visit people. But it's the hub of music in the UK. Like, for independent artists, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want to live there because trying to survive in that environment is crazy. But there's so much talent there and there's so many people that you can meet. I love going and just like doing a songwriting camp, or if I go to a gig, even if it's somebody else's gig, try and network with people afterwards. And I've met some really great musicians just from like going to visit them and stuff. And
I suppose absorbing the whole kind of experience of it all, the atmosphere, the place itself. It is atmospheric, albeit
Crazy.
hectic,
Yeah.
but it is atmospheric. Yeah, definitely. I'm not a fan of London. I couldn't live there myself, but I do like to visit there.
Yes. Yeah.
Now and then.
So I call it like business trips. So I'm trying to go like every quarter.
Yeah.
So I'll go and like book a songwriting camp, and I'll just try and like book in loads of gigs or open mics or whatever, and just try and connect with like as many musicians as possible. Just round them all up.
That's a good idea, because I suppose then, you stand more of a chance of meeting. Did you say Wilkinson?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're London-based.
But what I mean is you'll probably stand more of a chance of meeting like-minded people in the music arena.
Yes.
To maybe do collabs with and spread your message and your music further, as opposed to, I suppose, just containing yourself to South Wales, for example.
And I think that like the South Wales scene is great.
Absolutely.
And it's like so many opportunities. And I'm glad that I've started here because in terms of like funding, just performance opportunities, like it's been really great. But I think now is time to like just try and branch out in different places. But like this is my home base,
Yeah, definitely. And you always, I think, as an artist anyway, you always got to keep your options open, because you just don't know what doors are going to open and what opportunities are going to present themselves. So talking of live performances, do you have any kind of pre-performance rituals or superstitions that you like to carry out prior to going onto stage, or?
Ooh, good question.
Or is it, or even if there's something you don't even know you do, but you've just gone, oh, actually, I do that, so.
So when I wake up in the morning, I've got a gig or performance or whatever, I'll always have a hot water and honey, and then I'll have a few of them throughout the day. And it's only on performance days, really.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know whether it works, but I feel like it helps soothe my throat.
Yeah, I was going to say that for the purpose of
the singing,
of the vocals and things, yeah, definitely.
I won't have dairy, so usually I have Greek yogurt every day. Won't have it if I'm performing.
Why is that then? What's the reason behind that particular? Why dairy?
So it's meant to like, I don't fully know, but it's something like it does something to your vocal things, and you're like, it thickens them or something.
Yes. So
and then it makes it harder to sing, or like, yeah.
Yeah, dairy is mucus forming.
That's the word.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I heard it once, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it for the rest of my life. Here we go.
Yeah. So I mean, it's and this is by no means to put anyone off dairy, but yeah, it is mucus forming, so I can see why that would be kind of a sensible ritual to perform, especially on the day of performing. And do you find that that actually helps, whether it actually does or whether it's just psychological?
To be honest, since I found it out, I've been doing it constantly. So I don't think I've done a gig where I've had dairy. Like, even if I'm going out for a meal before like a performance or something, I will make sure there's no dairy in it. I don't know like where this come from, but yeah, it's just like ingrained in my brain. And I always vocal steam. So if I've got like a big steamer thing.
Would
so
you stick your face over and inhale?
So this one is like, it's like a pot with like a plug, so you just like suck it in like a straw, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, bit of a fancy thing, but I always find that helps, like make sure they're hydrated, because obviously your vocal cords are the last things to be hydrated in your body. So if your body's dehydrated, then your vocal cords are definitely dehydrated.
See, and every day is a school day here on Top of the Pods. That's something I didn't know. There we are. We're learning something. If there's any artists out there, young artists in particular, there we are. Look up vocal steaming. Is it?
Yes.
Vocal steaming. There we are. So I don't know if anything has ever happened to you, but what's the strangest thing that's ever happened to you during a live show? Is anything, any strange guys thrown some dodgy underwear at you or something like this, or even a girl, anything strange happened in any of your live shows?
Not like ridiculously crazy, but I was on the stage for this one gig, and then I looked in the audience and I was like, I recognise that guy, and it was my first year housemate from uni. I haven't seen him for like 5 years. And he was just like, I was like, I'm pretty sure that's him. And he just sat down and watched my show, and then turns out he came to watch me after like 5 years. Hadn't seen him since. And he lives in London. I was playing in Cardiff, so he travelled 3-4 hours to come down for this gig.
So obviously, I was going to say, did he remember you? But obviously, he's purposely come from London to Cardiff. Did you say?
Yeah.
To watch you perform,
which was crazy, because I literally hadn't spoken to him really or seen him for a long while.
Yeah.
And he was just there. So
wow. And did you get to speak to him on the night then?
Yes.
You did
Yeah,
you?
we had a few drinks after, which was
Excellent,
nice.
amazing. That's actually that's a very nice story, to be fair, and nice of him to kind of not go out of his way, but he did actually go out of his way,
100%.
to come down and see you. So that's really nice. And did he? How did he know that you were performing or singing? Obviously he saw you online. Did he know you were a singer?
Yeah. I started my account when I was in uni, so they knew from that, and they followed my Instagram, and then they just saw it on there, and he was like, "Yeah, I've been wanting to come down to see you for a while, and then I was free on this day, so I came down to visit," which is bonkers.
It is bonkers. And but did when you recognised him? Were you performing? Were you mid performance when you thought, "Oh my," and it didn't throw you? You continue performing, and in your head you go in, I. You didn't just stop and go, I know you. Wait, just everybody just wait to say, I know you.
Yeah, it was like my first song, and I just looked, and then he waved at me. I was like, okay, obviously it's the person that
clarified in your mind that it was the right person.
But crazy.
Amazing. That is a good story. I like that. And what was his name again? Sorry,
Adam.
Adam.
So shout out to Adam.
Yeah, shout out to Adam. I mean, fair play for coming from London to Cardiff and supporting local artists. That is one for all of us, I think, that we need to follow, supporting local artists in particular, and younger upcoming artists as well. I think that's important. And on that note, let's go into your third song. If you'd like to tell us what that is and a little bit about that one. Yeah,
so Stay is my last song. It's unreleased at this current point in time, but I'm hoping for next year. That's kind of my plan with the releasing things. And I co-wrote this one again with my friend called, Billy, Freddie, stage names. So I'll say Billy and Freddie.
But they are one and the same?
Yes.
Right, okay.
I don't know which one he prefers, so I'll just kind of keep it there.
Yeah.
I had a studio in Surrey Way, and he just started playing something on the guitar, and then I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. And usually I write a bit more sad stuff, but then I listened to the chords and stuff, and I was like, nah, this needs to be a love song. So we were trying to think of where it could kind of go.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of a love at first sight kind of song. So you see someone out and you just catch their eyes, but something inside of you just knows that you're meant to go and speak to that person. You're supposed to meet them and see where life goes. So that's what Stay's about, is kind of that instant connection with someone.
Yeah, and I can relate to that because I've written a song myself called I Know You, which is based on exactly the same concept of you see someone. It's almost your soulmate as such, that instant connection. So let's have a little listen to this song. This is unreleased currently, but this will be available in the next year, did you say? Or next year?
Yeah, I'd say next year.
Okay, this is Wrenna and Stay. Enjoy.
Strangers across the room, somehow I'm drawn to you. Oh, I know that we're not leaving here alone. I'm not leaving here, I'm not leaving here. From the moment I caught your eyes, I was just hypnotized. Oh, I know that we're not leaving here tonight. We're not leaving here, we're not leaving here. Let me know, let me know, let me know how. Tell me so, tell me so. Now I can't shake this feeling. Your touch keeps me breathing. Don't want us to fade. Oh, I want you to stay for a while. I don't need another reason. Your love, it brings me healing. I don't wanna wait, so I want you to stay for a while. Oh, your love is like oxygen. Hold me close, breathe you in. Oh, I know that I can't let you go. I can't let you go. I can't let you go. Tell me so, tell me so, tell me so. Ah, hold me close, hold me close. Now I can't shake this feeling. Your touch keeps me breathing. Don't want us to fade. Oh, I want you to stay for a while. Oh, I don't need another reason. Your love, it brings me healing. I don't wanna wait, so I want you to stay for a while. I can't shake this feeling. Your touch keeps me breathing. Don't want us to fade. Oh, I want you to stay for a while. Oh, I don't need another reason. Your love, it brings me healing. I don't wanna wait, so I want you to stay for a while. 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 I can't shake this feeling. Your touch keeps me breathing. Don't want us to fade. Oh, I want you to stay for a while.
There we are. There is Wrenna and Stay, currently unreleased, but what a beautiful song, and I look forward to that myself, hitting the music charts in the next year. So keep an eye out for that one. So there is a question I want to ask you, and maybe there isn't one, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. What's the most unexpected place or unexpected moment you found that inspired a song? Is there anything that springs to mind? You know, have you been kind of maybe on a date with somebody and you kind of wandered off and you thought, ooh, you know?
Oh, I don't know.
You have to dig deep in your thoughts there.
Unexpected place.
Yeah, or moment, unexpected place or moment that inspired a song. Is there anything that sticks out in your mind? I put you right on the spot, haven't I?
I know. It's gonna sound really boring. I literally can't think of anything.
Well, no. It's no, because it is a bit of an obscure question. I just thought maybe there may have been something you would have gone, oh yes, there is this, but you know, I've not got any unexpected moments or places. So I always like to throw a curveball question in. Where does most of your songwriting take place? Is there a place that usually happens?
Yeah, usually I've got like a little music room at home. So usually if I'm going to sit down and write somewhere, I'll sit in there and I've got my piano, my guitar. So usually that's kind of where
everything
inspiration
happens
comes from.
Yeah. So nothing nothing unexpected is really going to happen there, I suppose, is it? You know, and
yeah, this is my really boring answer, but most of the time it's like it's literally all written in the room or in someone else's studio, and then I'm sure there is a cool moment somewhere, but
it's somewhere in the depths of your
there. Yeah.
However, based on what you just said there, though, you know, that is your music room. When you are at the top of the charts, you know, when you're worldwide famous, which is it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And that perhaps that house is no longer yours. Someone will live in that house, and then that room will be. This is where the place that Wrenna wrote most, or if not all, of her songs.
Yeah.
You know, so this history in the making here.
Yeah.
It's already.
It's my mum's house, so
okay.
I said if I do make it, she's gonna, you know, like Gavin and Stacey, where she lets people in her house for tours.
Oh right, yeah.
She's gonna have to do that and let people in to tour the room, which is like this big, but she makes some money.
Absolutely, Wrenna's mum. If you're watching this, that is a future plan, and with Wrenna coming from a business background, the business plan's already pretty much written, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure you're going to have a percentage of any take-ins from that.
Oh, yeah, cool.
I love it. Okay, so based on that, if you weren't a musician, and we've spoken about you have a business degree, what would you be doing if you weren't a musician?
Definitely something entrepreneurial. I think like my head's always been in business somewhere. So like at the minute I do part-time marketing.
Yeah.
So whether it would be full-time doing that. But I love traveling.
Okay.
So I'd like to think that it was something to do with like seeing the world, maybe as like travel influencer kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, any kind of thing that would allow me to go to different places and experience different cultures. I would like to think that would be where I would go.
And not that we have to think about this, because this is not going to be the scenario, but if no, I don't even want to ask it really, because it's not going to happen. But is that something you would definitely fall back on and look into, in particular, that kind of travel influencer with you could be a traveling musical influencer?
Yeah, well, for a part of my uni degree, I actually renovated a caravan. So I was thinking I could do like Wrenna's renovation.
Oh.
And then like Wrenna on the road.
Yeah.
And then I just play and I go to different like gigs in different places in Europe or whatever.
I'm sold. I'm sold on that. That's a business idea there in itself.
Yeah,
I
maybe I
love
vlog different like places that I go to, but Wrenna on the road, maybe I should
Wrenna
make it
on
happen.
the road. Yeah, you should definitely make that happen. Definitely, regardless of whether you make it or not, which you will, obviously. But so one last question for Wrenna, and then we will move on and let Wrenna carry on with the day. But if your music could be the soundtrack to any movie, past or present, what would that be? Have you ever thought about that?
I haven't. Trying to think of like my favorite movie is A Star Is Born.
Oh,
So
okay.
maybe
Lady Gaga?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe if it was like one of the songs on there or something.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah.
Obviously it's a live stage and it's kind of like what I'm doing it as a musician anyway. So yeah, maybe A Star Is Born.
Okay, and possibly a duet with Lady Gaga. I'm guessing from that you're a fan of Lady Gaga and her music.
She's brilliant in there.
So then a little duet with Lady Gaga.
I have to write it in the song, yeah.
Absolutely, yes, definitely. Well, there we are, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to Wrenna today, a local artist from here in South Wales, Caerphilly. Please do go and check Wrenna out on all the streaming and download platforms. And keep an eye out for that, the track that hasn't been released yet. And as always, come along and support these independent artists, because without you as an audience, it's a far more difficult journey. And on that note, I just want to thank you, Wrenna, for your time and your incredible music today. And
thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. And hopefully we'll see you in the very near future on another episode of Top of the Pods.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.